Around the world. Hello, Annie.
Hello and good
Thank
morning.
God it's Friday. That's
Thanks
what we say
God it's
every Friday.
Very happy about that.
Good morning, Annie. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah?
How are you doing?
Yeah, you fought the good fight. Well done. It's been a good
You know, I
week.
tried. I did my best.
Keep on going.
Yes.
Keep fighting.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
All right, so good morning to everyone out there watching, and thank you for starting your day and also your weekend with us. So we start What's Trending today with a story we first brought you yesterday, the nationwide reactions to the musician KWAM1 and his altercation with ValueJet. Well, now, the Aviation Minister Festus Keyamo has put him on a no-fly list after the incident that happened inside a ValueJet airline, where he reportedly tried to board the flight with alcohol and on the tarmac, as you see in this newer video. Well, in a post on X, the minister says that this whole incident was a, quote, temporary loss of sanity and control on both sides. So some people online have started pulling this up. Section 459A of the Criminal Code, which states that any person who causes an alteration to be made or in any way whatsoever hinders or impedes movement of any aircraft which is in motion or in flight is guilty of a misdemeanor and is liable to imprisonment for 2 years. And interestingly, in 2008, the British supermodel Naomi Campbell also had an incident with an airline, British Airways. On a flight in London, she assaulted police officers after they told her that her luggage didn't make it on the flight. So she didn't go to jail, but they fined her over £2,000 and reportedly banned her from ever flying British Airways for life. So, you know, I think all of this is showing that airlines do and can fight back. So, Rufai, I'll start with you. Your reaction to this, Naomi Campbell to, you know, KWAM1.
No. So I will limit my reaction to KWAM1, but also what Naomi Campbell did was out of it. But what we saw, so from the vantage point at which I saw it yesterday, I like to talk to facts. And that's why I always shout empirical facts. I like to talk to facts. As I yesterday, the videos I saw, I didn't see anywhere he was holding the flags. I didn't see many things. In fact, I didn't see a proper angle where he was trying to impede the movement of plane. I just saw him, you know, trying to duck away from the plane. But as we asked for the video, then it came out. What I saw was very, very bad. The truth is, at first, I have never seen anywhere, and I fly locally, I have never seen anywhere where you are even allowed to, even if it's a bottle of water, a plastic clear bottle, to take it into the bed, let alone a flask with a content in it. Most of those things you leave at the, before you even, if it's the Abuja airport, I know, the place before you climb the bridge down onto the tarmac, they'll check you there, they'll say you can't take that in. So how come he took the flask and he passed that place in the first place? That's the first question we should ask. Secondly, he now got to the point where he was supposed to get on the plane, and they told him you can't take it in. The question is, was that flask more important than his flights that he wanted to catch? Once they said you cannot take it in, you can't take it in. Then the next thing, he went in front of the plane, started blocking the plane, started doing macho man in front of the plane. In fact, memes that started coming, that started calling him plane stopper. No, that's totally wrong. Somebody was saying we are still waiting for investigation for Shomole's wound. Is the conclusion. We have to get the conclusion because we had both parties too. But this one we have. Then you blocked the front of the plane, you impeded other passengers, you disrespected other passengers. And as I yesterday, his aide was coming out to say, we are not wrong. That's what she's aide do, because the owner of the airline was calling. I'm sure when the owner of the airline saw this, I'm sure he was very upset. And for the pilots, yes, I know the pilot was provoked. He provoked the pilot, but under no regard, under no circumstance should the pilot have broken those aviation protocols by even trying to move the plane when she didn't get the all clear. So they are both wrong, two wrong. And I'm happy that Keyamo has stepped in. And I hope they are able to effect that ban as the investigation goes on. The question is, going forward, what are some of the suggestions? I think people, ground staff there, should also have cameras embedded in their jackets. Secondly, we should be able to have police on ground that the pilots can radio to be able to save us all of this skirmish. Thirdly, what Wasiu should be doing now is to be issuing a strong-worded apology to the passengers, to people out there, to the Nigerian people, to everybody concerned. I expected is either his PR person kept quiet yesterday, now that there are more damning video evidence, should issue a strong-worded apology. So that, because I hear they've petitioned the Attorney General now, NCA was, Achimogu was saying it, I saw Mary Chinda's report where she interviewed Achimogu. So that at least they can see a sense of remorse in him when they're about to go for this. But it also goes around the big manism in this country, and we should all be careful. Like somebody said, I should ask, where's the Oshomole case still dates? What has happened? We have not heard, have they settled the matter?
Mm-hmm. And absolutely, as you know, Rufai was mentioning, in the story about K1 and this new ban, we're also learning new details about one of the pilots on this ValueJet flight. So this is Captain Oluranti Ogoyi. You're about to see her picture here. She was reportedly on that flight when K1 tried to board, and here's what we know. Ogoyi has been a pilot for over 10 years and joined ValueJet a few years back after flying with Arik for a long time. We also know that she became a full captain in 2021. And Vimbai, I'll start with you because we've spoken a lot about K1 because we have the videos, we can see him there, but it's also important to look at the pilots as well and, you know, their role in all of this as well.
Absolutely. I think, like we said yesterday, there's enough of the guilt to go around. That's the honest truth. Is that as much as she was provoked, it's clear that there was a provocation, and she was clearly. I mean, I would have been frustrated too, because you're now holding, as the minister said, holding a hostage situation. You're holding all of us ransom to the fact that you're disgruntled about a decision that has been taken. Nevertheless, I'm glad that she stood her ground with regards to her and her team, and the team on board, to say that this is not acceptable, this is against the rules, and we will not allow it to happen. However, again, because anything could have happened with the way she was edging that flight. It was very scary. It was very, very scary. So she took it too far. Shia already has been punished as well. Her license has been suspended for, I think it's about 6 months as well. I'm not sure if they've confirmed the duration of her license suspension. But I hope it's a time of reflection for her as well. And, you know, she's young. She's got a lot of years ahead of her. She'll come back better from this. I think it's a great learning curve for her as well. But just speaking to the comparison in punishment, and that's with what the part of the story you brought earlier, which sort of makes it seem like, given what the law says, the punishment to KWAM1 is a bit of a slap on the wrist. I think that the public disgrace has probably done more damage than any further punishment might do. And I just hope that this serves as a memo, a very loud memo to all, that okay, this is a first offense for this gentleman in this nature. We're not going to go to the full extent of the law, which I think is also good, that there's a little bit of justice being tempered. We're tempering our justice there. However, after this, we need to follow those code of conduct to the letter, to the T, because that is the only way that people will behave themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would like to comment on this. Earlier on, I had made some comments, so these are additional footnotes. To reiterate that safety, security is the number one thing in aviation. And the pilot is the captain of the ship, captain of the aircraft. Now, many of us will know that it's most unusual for the pilot to come and be engaging a passenger, except the thing has gone out of hand. That's how, you know, the pilot will leave the cockpit and even come out. And the pilot, whether male or female, has a final decision to say, well, I will not fly this plane if there's this disruption. I want this particular passenger who is disrupting operations out of my aircraft. And that is what may have occurred. Second is the fact that there may also be power relations, gender relations. I said earlier on that KWAM1, as he's known, you know, he's the big Fuji musician, reigning champion, rave of the moment. He's also a traditional leader Oluriomo Akile Jebu, and plus, not meant for television. And so he may have looked at the young girl and say, who is this? And people can also be provoked and say, well, I'm the daughter of Senator Francis Ogunwale, senator representing Osun Central Senatorial District 2020 to 2023.
Big man.
I don't care who you are. And then, that was why Keyamo was saying there was a display of insanity on both sides. So KWAM1 went down and he went and tried to stand in front of the aircraft. In fact, the Keyamo discussion even said, if the aircraft move this way, it will move that way. No, it's not only the section 459A that you are quoting. There's also section 327.
Oh, yeah.
The Nigerian government does not allow you to commit suicide.
Yes.
If you choose to commit suicide, you better die. Otherwise, the government will imprison you. It's 1 year imprisonment. So to see a KWAM1, Wasiu Anifowoshe, the Fuji Maestro, trying to commit suicide, I think it's very embarrassing. Wow. And he must know that he occupies a leadership position in society. But part of the problem we have is this thing called big man syndrome. Do you know who I am? I wouldn't be surprised if he had asked the girl, do you know who I am? The problem that do you know who I am has caused in this country. Somebody should do a study of it and provide detailed examples. However, I think Festus Keyamo, the minister, has handled it well, because it was the lady that was first suspended. Her license was suspended. And Keyamo came and said, after reviewing the evidence, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. So if you are punishing the pilot, suspending her license, you must also look at the man who instigated all of this. They say they are investigating. For how long would they investigate? Because the investigation involving Senator Oshiomhole and Air Peace, I think it's more than 1.5 months now. We have not had anything. So the Ministry of Aviation or the NCAA should not be a Bermuda Triangle for investigations that are announced by the relevant authorities. No, they should come back to us as the public to say this is how the matter has been resolved. There should be no Bermuda Triangle in this matter, where both the aircraft and the parties involved in the confrontation will disappear into an orbit that nobody can trace.
Dr. Abati, Emma, Yonu see me. Yonu Oloroma. Yonu Oloroma. Leoma.
I'm just
Emma Ganusi. Please don't Ganusi. Don't play Ganusi politics. No Ganusi politics.
Okay.
Emma, Yonu see me.
No Ganusi. No Ganusi.
Thank you for the song.
Facts are facts. Medical facts.
Emma, Yonu see me.
And we must say the truth.
And in fact, in the video, he was saying,
we have the monopoly of truth on this table.
He said, do you know?
The truth was
do you
with
know
us.
what will happen?
He said, do you know
Do you know what will happen?
Ah.
That's what he said.
Emma,
Play the
Yonu
video.
see me.
So that's a story we'll definitely keep watching. But now let's go to another one, with the First Lady, Remi Tinubu, donating 100 million naira to the families of the 22 Kano athletes who died tragically in a road accident earlier this year. Kano State says each family got 5 million naira from the First Lady under the Victim Support Fund. And on top of that, the Kano State governor himself gave a donation of 130 million naira. The victims' families thanked both the First Lady and Kano State government for what they called a, quote, deeply consoling and dignified response to the tragedy. And just as a reminder, 22 athletes died in a violent car crash back in May along the Kaduna-Kano Expressway. It happened when they were all coming back from the National Sports Festival in Ogun State. And Dr. Abati, I'll start with you on this, because we're also learning that the Kano Sports Institute in Karfi is renaming that institute to the Kano 22 Athletes Institute, kind of as a tribute to the deceased. How should we be looking or analyzing this story?
Okay, the way to look at it is that this is an update. This happened after the last National Sports Festival, which was hosted in Ogun State. The Kano athletes were returning, they had an accident, and the athletes and their officials died. Now, this is not the time that the donation is being made. At that time, Mrs. Remi Tinubu, the First Lady, donated the 110 million that is being spoken about. The state government donated 130 million. Ogun State government donated 32 million and also sent a delegation. I think it was Gombe State, Jigawa State, donated 22 million. A private investor donated 2.2 million. Now, at that time, we had made the point that, look, there should be proper accounting for all these donations. We have made the same point in Plateau and elsewhere where Mrs. Tinubu donated in the billion range. So what they are now doing in Kano State is the Kano State authorities now coming and saying, okay, total money collected, 320 million. And giving account saying, okay, we also gave the affected families, I think 22 million each. We also gave a plot of land to the affected athletes and an additional 2 million. So the Accountant General of the Kano State government was the one who presided over the formal disbursement of all of this. And I think that the point to be made is that we like the transparency, we like the accountability, that they are now telling us, okay, this is how the money has been disbursed. And to honor the athletes, you now have the Kano Sports Institute at Kafi, now named the Kano 22 athletes athlete. But, you know, there are bigger lessons to learn from this. One, about accountability and transparency, which is fine. Two, to provide the safeguards to make sure that athletes who go to events do not come back dying, even when they had arrived in Kano. Because we said, I mean, what is this? Could they not have arranged flight for them? Could they not have arranged other means of transportation? There were allegations that they had traveled for hours and that the driver was even tired. Some people allege overspeeding. So safety is very important. Whether there are passengers traveling with ValueJet who are going to encounter big man KWAM1, or there are athletes returning from a state of the federation who are going to find themselves in a poorly maintained bus and a driver who is tired and who is likely to lose control of the vehicle. Safety.
Absolutely. And I think that we can stay on that thread that Dr. Abati was talking about of roads and transport, because now Lagos Governor Sanwo-Olu says that his state is going all in on infrastructure after unveiling 7 brand new roads in Badagry. So the governor says the goal of these new roads is to enhance trade and commerce, stimulate tourism, and more importantly, they want to open up remote areas. His closing words to the residents when he was speaking to them yesterday, to protect the roads as best as they can, telling them directly, quote, "I urge all road users to guard jealously the infrastructure being handed over today, ensuring its preservation for generations to come." And as new roads are opening up, let's head over to Niger State, where earlier this week, a different road accident killed 22 people. The Niger State Sector Commander Aisha Sadu confirmed the crash, saying it happened around 3 in the morning when a trailer heading from Kano to Lagos veered off the road and crashed. 22 out of the 42 people in that trailer died on the spot, while the other 20 were rushed to a nearby hospital. And either Rufai or Vimbai, we can, talk about these stories all together because they're all around the topics of 1, building new roads, 2, maintaining those roads, but also 3, the need for road safety and security, because a lot of times driving here can feel like an extreme sport. It's not necessarily safe.
Yes, it speaks to the state of roads in this country. If my data serves me right, Nigeria has over 28 square kilometers of land. I think we barely have less than 300,000 square kilometers of road. So we don't even have enough roads. I mean, if you compare it to countries like Italy that has, about 600,000 square kilometers of land, definitely they will have roads. I mean, it's a stupid thing that I even try to compare Nigeria and Italy because definitely infrastructural development and everything is bigger. But it just shows that, no, yeah, it's a stupid comparison. Maybe if I'd compared Nigeria with something else. But it just shows, to a large extent, that we don't have, number one, enough roads. I'm happy that Governor Sanwo-Olu is opening up those roads. Secondly, how quick are we going to have the turnaround time for those roads? Because at a point in this country, Annie, Nigerians used to go spend the weekend in places like Badagry, whispering palms. But today, trying to go around that area, it's problematic. So currently, I have an Ivorian lady that is riding a bike from Abidjan to South Africa, Cape of Good Hope, to raise money for charity. She's in Nigeria currently, Yasmin, and she was telling me the state of roads. She said, oh, things got better when she got to some parts of Nigeria. But you can just imagine the state of roads.
And I wonder how it compares to other countries that she's going through.
It's even worse off,
Yeah.
you know. So if he has opened this road, it's good. As regards road accidents, yes, another very sad one. What's the cause of road accidents? Many factors. Overspeeding, all right? Quality of roads, safety signs and regulations, many attendant factors. How can we reduce this? Number one, do we really even implement the speed limits on our highways? Because when you check the highway code, there's a speed limit. The question, let's even start from there. How many drivers have the highway code? How many drivers in Nigeria today have seen the highway code?
How many even have driving licenses?
How many even have driver's licenses? So
They have it. How many got it legitimately?
yeah, so how many have seen the highway code? How many has gone through? So there are many problems you have to look through. So it's a holistic thing, very sad, commiserations to the life lost. But also, what is also the response time for emergencies? As we speak today, if I'm stuck, if I have or if anybody has an accident on the highway, what's the emergency number I can call to get an ambulance for me in Nigeria?
Don't they say it's 999? No.
Well, I think in Lagos, it's 767.
No, I'm
767.
767. Okay, I'm saying in a highway where you are in between state lines.
That's a good question.
Jam question.
In Nigeria.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I'm traveling to around Niger, for instance.
Even if you are traveling in Nigeria and you feel the call of nature, there is nowhere.
Yeah, that's
you,
nowhere.
you will have to come
So-
down and go into the bush.
So
if
these
you are
are-
not lucky, kidnappers will grab you.
So these are the questions. Say for Lagos that invests in things like that. Say for Lagos that, you know, that has done a lot of work ahead, and because of the advantage you got over the years, because, you know, when we try to compare Lagos, I think it's not a fair comparison because we forget that Lagos used to be a former capital. So Lagos had a head start over others. And also, Lagos used to be a crown colony. So when the British came here, it was Lagos. So when you look at the amalgamation charter in Nigeria, it was Lagos colony plus the Southern Protectorate in 1906. And it was Lagos colony, the Southern Protectorate, and the Northern Protectorate in 1914. So Lagos got a head start. So save for Lagos, how many other parts?
Really good.
Well, in Lagos, I mean, it's about sustenance. It's about leadership.
Yeah.
Something that we talk about everywhere. But to say that, yes, the road infrastructure is poor and it's not up to standard, that's very correct. After all, when you travel in Europe or in
don't be
the
comparing
US,
Europe with Nigeria.
No.
It's
You
not-
know,
it's not a
when
fair
you travel
comparison.
some distance, there will be a fuel station.
Dr.
There will be a
Martins.
place where you can,
Rest.
have refreshment, relax and all that. Here, if you travel from here to where is that your village? Odogbolu. if you want to answer the call of nature, you have to go into the
You
bush.
have to go to the bush,
And if you are a woman, the woman will be looking like
bend
this.
down.
What
You
will
use
she-
clothes to cover.
Hey, stop laughing. You don't have similar infrastructure in Zimbabwe.
You cracked the joke and laughed.
No, don't laugh at our
Dr.
elders.
Abati, in terms of road, give it to them.
Do they have the kind of infrastructure we are talking
Vimbai,
about?
like, in terms of roads,
Don't laugh at us.
I
No.
sit here as a Niger wife.
no, Dr. Abati, in terms of roads, Vimbai,
We have tried.
I give it to them. They've tried.
Lessons
If you now want to destroy the argument, try to compare Nigeria with Namibia in terms of roads. Don't go there. No, don't
I've
go
been
there.
to Windhoek.
Windhoek. Don't go
Yes.
there. In terms of road,
Annie, please take control. Take control.
Anyway, I just don't like a Nigerian wife laughing.
I sit here laughing at a Nigerian man cracking a Nigerian joke to a Nigerian wife. I have every right in the, what is the act section? Which one?
Absolutely. Let me just keep us moving here. Let's keep this train moving. So let's now head to Abuja, where the chairman of the EFCC is saying that they're going to start cracking down on abandoned estates. Why? Because according to him, a lot of them are owned by civil servants who've stolen money. Let's listen to what he said at an event this week about real estate.
I've set up a team. We'll start visiting all the estates across, not only Abuja, across Nigeria. We want to know who owns what. It will shock you that some of these estates have been abandoned for 20 years, 10 years. They just take it to a level and they abandon it. Nobody knows what's going on. And you know, the little thing, what we have been able to gather is that most of these estates were funded by civil servants who have stolen money. So the moment they leave public service, the money is no longer coming. So they abandon the estate.
So he pretty much even went on to say, quote, some of you sitting in this room, talking to the people in the room with him, probably own some of those estates. They belong to you. Adding that we expect to see you in court because there's no way we will develop this sector, the real estate sector, if we continue with that attitude. So, you know, he pretty much ended up saying, see you in court. The chairman of the EFCC isn't holding back here. And Vimbai, I'll start with you, because he's basically saying that if you drive around Abuja, you'll see a bunch of abandoned estates. No one's living there. No one's accounting for them. So what's really going on?
So I'm going to take this in two parts. The first is with regards to these estates and these real estate development that we've seen. If you remember when we rebased the economy a few weeks ago, what showed up in our rebasing was that the real estate sector suddenly became the third biggest contributor to Nigeria's GDP, right? Following crop production and I can't remember the second, but it was the third largest real estate. Now, what was interesting to me last week, you know, I love numbers and statistics. What was interesting to me earlier this week, we saw the capital importation numbers. So capital importation being the money coming into Nigeria, right? And real estate showed up at the very bottom of the list. I think real estate accounted for 0.02 capital importation. So for me, it was strange that, okay, there's this sector that's blowing up, but I thought, okay, fine. So it's all a local investment that's driving this sector. That's also very interesting. But then I also asked myself, what are the real dynamics happening around here? And I think that's the trail that the EFCC boss is following, because you have this huge investment going into the real estate sector. I'm not saying that it's all legitimate. However, it's now clear that there's a lot of illegitimate activity, whether it be money laundering or whatever it is, happening in that sector. And that's why it's showing up as number 3 on our GDP contribution. Now, having said that, he's now saying that, you know, they're cracking down and they're trying to connect these estates to people. There was a popular one that was connected to the former central bank governor recently and so forth. No problem. I think all that is fair and fine. However, we encourage that. We want to see them in court. But there are some cases that we are still sitting on, that we're waiting to see reach their finality and their conclusion. Example, Yahaya Bello, for example, very high profile case. He's been trying to get his passport, he's been trying to, you know, various things have been happening because the case is dragging on, and of course the man's life is actually in limbo. So it's actually in his interest as well for this case to be rounded up very quickly so that he knows where he stands as the public. And it's not, I'm just using him as an example. There are hundreds of cases that we can cite here, you know, with regards to catch and release. EFCC will arrest somebody, it'll be headlines and so forth, but we want to see prosecutions, we want to see the end of these cases.
Okay, just to make a point, and the question to ask is Mr. Oluranti, the chairman of the EFCC, saying the right thing. Now, the reference is the EFCC Establishment Act of 2004, Section 46 of the EFCC Establishment Act of 2004 empowers the EFCC to investigate and prosecute illicit process of crime. In other words, illicit wealth. So it's in that context that he's talking. That, okay, he has observed estates, abandoned estates in the Federal Capital Territory. So he's not saying anything wrong if he says, we're going to investigate those estates. And they have the powers to trace, to prosecute, to investigate, and even to go to court and ask for the forfeiture of those estates, as you have seen in the case of one major estate in the, in Abuja, linked to a former government official. So just to clarify that. However, where such cases come up, we expect that the EFCC will follow due process, that there will be no political persecution, so that nobody will come and say, oh, I'm being persecuted because I belong to another party. There will be no undue harassment, and the rights of the affected persons must be respected. And the courts of the land must ensure that justice is done and that nobody is victimized unnecessarily for political reasons.
Thank you, Doctor. That's another story I'm sure we'll keep watching. But now, let's go to a story that's gone viral on social media. We're getting new reactions to Kemi Badenoch's comments about what she said she went through while attending a federal government college in Nigeria. Badenoch said that school in Nigeria was like a prison, that she had to cut grass, clean toilets. Well, now, a new video online has a lot of people talking. In the video, a content creator says some of her friends were in the same year and even the same dorm as Kemi. Let's listen to what she had to say.
I spoke to two of my friends who went to Shagamu, one of whom was actually in the same year and shared the same dormitory with Kemi. She remembers Kemi quite well. And both of them are flabbergasted. Their experiences of FGGC Shagamu is as different as night is from day from Kemi's testimony. They're like, what the hell is she talking about? They literally said, we had running water. We did chores. We cleaned the communal areas. We cleaned our dormitories. We all had set things to do. And yes, we would cut the grass near our dormitories or near our class buildings. But the school had tractors operated by adults to cut fields of grass. So what is she talking about? And no, nobody was giving her a machete. You use cutlass to cut grass. And why would anybody give her a lawnmower? Why would they give students lawnmowers? Use your brain. And so what if she clean toilets? Don't you all clean your own toilets at home? Aren't you all cutting the grass of your lawns and your gardens and your allotments? Not everybody can afford a gardener. So what is wrong with students in a boarding school being responsible for the lawns, their dormitory and class buildings? I would have thought, oh my God, that's building character and teaching life skills. Kemi compares FGGC Shagamu to a prison, like she's been in prison before, because, that would explain a lot. Maybe she was locked up in Kirikiri prison and she's got crow on the brain. So many of the women who went to FGGC Shagamu will be found today in leading industries across Nigeria, Africa, Europe, the States, name it. Nigerians know they carry life.
And so many of the comments under this video are people talking about their own experiences with boarding schools and how doing chores isn't something that only happens in Nigeria, but in boarding schools all over the world.
Big deal.
So,
Federal schools.
Who would like to take this one? Dr. Abati, do you want to?
Up Shaggy Girls, but not to Kemi Badenoch. Kudos to Shaggy Girls.
We've been on this Kemi Badenoch's storytelling. Now, I'm sure there are other issues in the UK. She's leader of the opposition that she can focus upon. Running down our country, blackmailing Nigeria, it's not going to get her votes. And I've called out the Adegoke family before. I've said a lot of other things. But I saw an interesting comment where someone said, look, the media, the Nigerian media, we seem to be paying too much attention to her because she says provocative things, clout chasing. Is it possible for us to ignore her and just deny her the attention that she seems to be seeking? Because she's reduced herself to the level of somebody seeking attention. I know he's showing a capacity to be a successful skit maker and content creator. Yes. One of the points she made, she said that when she was in secondary school, she reported a male colleague, a male student, for cheating, and that the student was expelled, even though she was praised. Do boys attend the Federal Government Girls College Shagamu? I thought they said she attended Federal Government Girls College. To the best of my knowledge, there were girls in that school. Yeah. By the time she was 15, 16, she was already in that school. Yeah. So where did the boy come from? From her imagination. That's why I say she's a content creator. So whatever, you know.
Thank you, Doctor. All right, let's keep it moving.